Now, the Pac-12 has their deal up in 2024. How important is it for them to get a new deal in place, and what would that look like considering these two defections?
Well, it's very important because then you could lock whatever schools you have left as well as whatever you have coming in. Not necessarily long-term, because I would have a hard time imagining any broadcast partner would do a long-term deal with the Pac-12 based on what's going on. But I think it does make it interesting from a streaming side, an Apple Plus, a Netflix, an Amazon, things like that, I think are going to jump in this more because they know that live sports are the best way to keep customers with advertisers. That's the only way, really, in this day and age, that you can go directly to the consumer and be comfortable with your investment. So I think from a broadcast partner perspective, they've been through this song and dance before. It's going to be really hard for them to do this. It's a great way, though, if you're one of these streaming services, to have an exclusive partnership with the Pac-12 for 1, 2, maybe 3 games per week with everything else on the Pac-12 network. So I think it's very important that the Pac-12 finds something. The problem is I don't think it's going to be through a traditional partner, just because they know that this conference, as it stands right now, or if it adds a Boise State or a Colorado State or San Diego State or whatever, is just not necessarily attractive on a week-to-week basis.
I'm just curious, Barrett, as to if you're a broadcast provider and you're looking to make a deal with the Pac-12 and they're looking at possibly losing 4, 6 teams to the Big 12 or going with the ACC to form a super conference, how do you negotiate those rights? Or would you expect nothing less than like a 2 to 3 year deal at this point?
You absolutely. I mean, if you're a broadcast partner, why would you go long term with a 10-year deal, especially knowing right now, and we've heard the reports, Dennis Dodd reported it a couple days ago, that the Big Ten is waiting around for Notre Dame's decision. So in 2-3 years, whenever Notre Dame decides to do whatever it decides to do, could the Big Ten start picking off Oregon, Washington, the Arizona schools, whoever? And a TV partner is not going to want to deal with all that, especially considering it is pretty much guaranteed that it's going to any move is going to devalue the Pac-12, whether it's a huge devaluation or just a small one. So, yeah, I don't see them getting involved in a long-term deal with the Pac-12. I don't think it makes financial sense.
Might be a few pages of contingencies in some of those deals. All right.
Yeah.
As
well,
we mentioned,
billable hours are always undefeated, Jeremy. You know how it goes. Billable hours, those lawyers are going to get their money.
Absolutely right. As we mentioned, I mean, other conferences would be interested in either picking off some of their teams or working to form an alliance. Barrett, let's talk about that. What would an alliance between the Pac-12 and the ACC look like at this point?
You said the A word because the alliance worked so well last time. They did that this time last year. I think the alliance talk between the Pac-12 and the ACC, the Pac-12 wants it, it needs it. It's one of the best bad ideas that exists, which if you're the Pac-12, that's what you're kind of searching for at this point, the best bad idea. But I don't see any reason why the ACC would want to do that. In fact, I've heard the ACC kind of scoff at that behind closed doors, that all of this talk is coming on the Pac-12 side. So when you're looking at this alliance, okay, is it a scheduling alliance with the ACC? Well, the ACC already has one with Notre Dame. 4 ACC schools have interstate rivalries with SEC schools. So how do you work a Pac-12 alliance in there? I don't see how that would work, because from the ACC's perspective, do you really need to go out west and play, Arizona State? Do you need to go play Stanford? No, you really don't, especially if the membership stays where it is right now. So I think that's coming from the Pac-12 side. I think if they were to somehow get that deal done, it would be 2-3 games per year in ACC country, the ACC going over 2-3 games per year over there. Anything more than that, like a Notre Dame style affiliation with what Notre Dame has right now with the ACC, I just don't see how it benefits the conference in an ACC that is not necessarily on life support, but it's kind of looking around going, ooh, who's coming? Who's coming? Who's coming from my Florida State? Who's coming from my North Carolina? So I don't see how it makes sense for the ACC.
Well, do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.